Hello, it is Wednesdays with chaseypoo. I've been extremely busy. Literally, library every single day for about like 10 hours. Fun stuff. This week's topic is feminism. We had this topic like 2 years ago when I talked about it, and wow, it was 2 years ago. Yeah, wow. And I feel like my views have evolved from 2 years ago, which is great. I'm always evolving. Perfect. I never really considered myself a feminist before. I always thought it was a post-feminist world. We did not need feminism. Women were equal, and I was just up in the clouds. This is wrong. I took a gender and society class, and I was introduced to feminism with a book that I had to review. It was called Reclaiming the F Word. I strongly recommend this book. I mean, I haven't read it in forever, and my book is like torn apart with and there's like post-its everywhere. But this book just like opened my mind. I was like, oh my god, I thought we were equal. So yeah, that sucks. But do I self-identify as a feminist? I do. I think that everybody should be equal. And I don't think men and women should be equal. I think everybody should be equal. And I say that very distinctively because if you say men and women, you're excluding people who don't identify as those binary gender two-sex system. So by saying everybody, literally everybody is included, everybody should be equal, and that doesn't mean that I think that men should pay for what they've done and be given, lesser treatment than women, and women should be boosted up to the top of, let's say, companies and jobs, but I do think that that everybody should be equal, and I mean, it sucks that we're not and that everybody thinks that we are. For a while, I actually did not identify as a feminist. After that, I did because of Tumblr. Tumblr is a horrible place for feminists because of the radical feminists that spew their views and seem to talk for all feminists, and that makes us fucking look horrible because their views are ridiculous, and one of the views that I think is what is wrong with you is to not include trans women in feminist and women-only spaces. Like, are you kidding me? Is this a joke? Equality for everybody except trans women? Like, what? So as a trans, I'm really red right now. There's like no light on me right now, and I look ridiculous. Oh, I'm sorry. This is gonna sound really strange, but as a trans guy, trans person, I think that I have a particular view on society that cis men, let's say for example, don't have. I was socialized as a female, and I wasn't socialized as my my dad's girlfriend's son. We were raised differently, but we were the same age and we grew up together. And I always wanted to do what he wanted to do, but I wasn't allowed because I was a girl, and it wasn't like acceptable for me to want to like achieve higher. Do you know what I mean? Like it sucks that I had to go through that, and I didn't really realize it. I thought it was just normal, and then you get to see it more and more when you go into higher education. And when I realized that I was trans, and then blah blah, long haul story, I started to pass. I realized the differences that you get treated when you're male. It sucks to have male privilege, to be completely honest. I wish I didn't have it, but you know what? I pass as male, I identify as male, I'm male, blah, blah, blah. So I'm gonna have male privilege, so I just have to deal with it. But I do want to talk a little bit about something that might seem controversial. A lot of people like, what are you, a men's rights activist? Like, no. I think that sometimes the feminist aspect does not explore masculinity as much as it should. And I get it. It's feminist. It's for women to be equal to men. But I feel like it should be equality for everybody. And I know that kind of sounds like an egalitarian kind of view. But for me, it's like men have to deal with a lot of shit. I mean, women have to deal with so much more. But men do have to deal with trying to look a certain way. Like, have you seen the billboards of like Calvin Klein and the guy with the underwear and the ripped body? Like, it makes me feel like shit because I don't look like that. Like, it's really heavy on men. I mean, why do you think the culture of like working out and getting ripped and bro is so up there? Because society sees men as this ideal type, and it's ridiculous just how society sees women as an ideal type. You know, the white, tall, blonde woman with blue eyes. Like, what? No. Have you looked around? Not everybody's like that. Same thing with men. Not everybody is fucking tall, dark, and handsome with big ass muscles. Look at me. Scrawny little white kid. I hope this video kind of made sense. My views were kind of all over the place. In all, I think that I'm never going to push my feminism onto anybody. If people self-identify as feminist, if people don't, up to you, really. I'm like, you know, I have a pin right here that says "Go Vegan," from a friend who gave this to me, and you can't really see it, but it says "Go Vegan." This is my same view with being vegan. I'm never going to put... The pin is actually kind of ironic because I would never pin pin my view on anybody else to be vegan. Do you do what you want? Same thing with feminism. I mean, I would recommend you reading some literature on why women are still unequal in society. Maybe if you didn't know, it would be a little interesting. This book is, my opinion, really good. There's a whole bunch of other books too that you can take a look at. And that's it. This was an extremely long movie. And that's it. That was an extremely long video about feminism, but, feminist. Alright guys, have a great week, and I will see you next week.